turn. Oh my god! Look at that like and dislike ratio. Holy sh! Didn't you already watch this? No, I didn't. I watched a video that looked at... We watched a video that referenced this and showed a few clips from it, and I was like, wow, this is really, really good. I want to watch this whole thing on my stream. And so that's what we're doing now.
Hello. I'm here to talk about monetization. It's Let's Go Whaling. It is about a summary of a huge bunch of behavioral psychology. So the tricks on how to monetize a game well. Some of you will probably be slightly shocked by all the tricks I have listed here, but I'll leave the morality of it out of the talk. We can discuss it if we have time later.
He doesn't give a... That's basically what he's trying to say. He's like, we'll talk about the morality after the... You know what, let's just talk... Yeah, all right, let's get on with the show. That's basically what he's doing. He doesn't give a...
So, let's dive right in. First off, Wall Street trader and an oil sheikh got into a fight. Who won? You guys did. This is to remind you that a lot of
you think about like the investors that are sitting there at the thing with like their arms over like crossed on top of their big fin bellies, just laughing this shit up, dude. Like you can just hear them in the background. Keep that in mind.
The spend comes from the high paying guys, the whales, and the very best way to get these guys to spend is to get two rich competitive guys to fight each other and tell them, I'll give you a slight upside if you pay me. Next off, to remind you that the best way to make sure of both your retention and your monetization is to make sure you have enough of an in-game economy in there.
What economy?
Up there is actually clearly lowballing it. Top grossing games have in-game economies worth tens of thousands. That's how you can keep...
I like how like the strategy to like, here's how to make a lot of money, is put a lot of things in the game that are worth a lot of money in the game, and then people will buy them. That's smart.
People in there, they have lots of things to do, to stuff to upgrade, to progress along, and that's how you can make them spend a lot as well, since you can, for instance, give a huge discount on something. You know, this stuff is worth 150 euros, but now I'll give it to you for 5. If your whole in-game economy is worth less than 150, you cannot do that, of course.
That's true.
So now,
that's true.
A few of these...
So artificially inflate the prices and have so many things in the economy that you can actually do these huge like fire sales and then convince people to buy them that way. That's actually really fucking smart. He's Finnish, not Swedish. Who cares?
Like frameworks on how to think of stuff. I've seen suggestions to model what you sell according to Bartle types. I assume you're all familiar with Bartle types. The achievers want to progress in the game. The socializers want to speak to other people.
Those are the role players.
The killers just want to compete and kill each other. And the explorers are the guys who are after stories.
Those are the casuals.
And experiences.
Yep.
So this is from Will Luton's suggestion to you sell convenience to the achievers, which really means faster progress.
Okay.
Customization to socializers. Hats and stuff, competitive advantage, that is pay to win for the killers, and content for explorers. Now, the reason I highlighted convenience up there or progress is that most of your sales will be here. Customization, hats and stuff, they're nice, but you'll have a single-digit percentage of your income coming from that, if you do both that and progress.
So this is like what he's saying. These are the different ways that you use to basically fucking scam people out of their money. Now, number 3 is the pay-to-win one. This is the one that for some reason people are not okay with. So they don't want to have the competitive advantage for the players. But the other 3, oh man, people will eat that shit up like it's candy. They don't give a fuck.
Competitive advantage is good, but you can go overboard with it and have an unbalanced game, which is, if it's too clearly pay to win, people will stop playing.
Yep.
And content...
You have to trick them, make them think that it's not pay to win. but it is, and that's why you get them to pay.
It takes a lot of resources and time to do that. Selling content is very expensive. Hardly any team can keep up producing content in the at the pace needed.
Yeah, it's basically expansions.
This one I like a bit better. Hook Habit Hobby. This is a model from
selling drugs to kids.
Dmitry Dravana of Flare Games. It's a model for how people progress in a game. The hook is what gets you into the game to try out a free-to-play game. Then you build it into a habit that you play multiple sessions every day. And then at the end, it's the hobby phase where people
smoke weed every day.
See it as one of their main hobbies, and they put lots of time and resources into it. Now, if we look at this from a monetization perspective, the hook is where you put up an icebreaker. You want to give a really, really good deal, something that's a no-brainer. You would be crazy to turn it down as a player. The reason to give a really good deal up front is by making people spend up front, they are also emotionally committing to your game, their retention will go up. And the first spend is, it breaks the ice, then they think of themselves as spenders in the game. It's okay for me to spend in the game. Lots of people are otherwise have this wall up, I will never pay for a mobile game. So you need to break the wall first.
Hey, look, it works. Hey, what can I say? It works.
The habit is like the main meat of the game. This is where you sell the faster progress, as we just discussed. And the hobby is for the guys who have already maxed out.
Faster progress. Just a second. Whoa. Wait a minute. Pause. Oh, what's this? What? Whoa, what's this? Wow! How about that? Man, these Blizzard guys, they really know what they're doing.
Oh, they're the guys who have all of their Clash of Clans building at the max level. They are already there. So you can no longer sell progress to them, you have to sell consumables. This is where you're selling the faster healing times or faster build times of armies. This is also where you get basically unlimited upper spend. There's no limit to how much you can spend in, for instance, Clash of Clans.
Yep.
So let's go down into some of these more tricks. Gachas. Who hasn't heard of gachas?
Yep.
Excellent. Most of you have. So gachas, they're named after gachapon, these Japanese machines, which are sort of slot machines that give you collectible stuff.
Okay.
On random, you get collectible stuff. But it's really the same mechanic that we have had in Western markets for collectible playing cards like Magic the Gathering.
Booster packs. You never had Charizard.
No matter how much you spend, you cannot directly get the card you want. You have to, over and over again, pay to get a bunch of random cards and hope that the thing you wanted is in there. Or then you like trade them somehow if there's...
We're saying, wow. Well, you're no longer able to buy the specific item that you want. Let's say with maybe the Azurite vendor, you know, you're not able, actually now you are, but before you weren't able to buy the item that you wanted. You just have to continue rolling the dice. I mean, just for an example.
What wasn't what you hoped for.
These
are great for again both monetization and retention because people like the lottery part of it. If you want to look up Skinner box to know why, it's really a lot more exciting, and you get more content because people cannot immediately progress to the stuff they want.
The Skinner box is a variable reinforcement ratio, which is what is the most powerful tool of getting people to repeat a process. So if you roll the dice and you always know exactly what you're going to get, you're not going to do it as often. If you roll the dice and you never get what you want, then you're never going to do it. But there's a sweet spot in the middle of it where whenever you roll the dice and you don't know if you're going to get it or not, you get that excitement. That's the variable reinforcement schedule that Skinner boxes use. right? And that's the strongest way of creating a gambling type behavior. And that's also the same thing that's happened with like games too. Think about the way they do WoW loot now. It's the same fucking thing. Okay, let's go.
We have to keep trying a few times, so it really takes like 5 times as long to get the collection that they need compared to just progressing and collecting soft currency and buying it straight off.
Titan portion.
Okay, then think about how you want to get to your millions. Do you go the king route of having a huge
King is owned by Blizzard.
volume of players and a fairly modest lifetime value for each spender?
Yep.
Or do you go the machine zone route of having a very hardcore game that like 95% of the population is going to look like, what is that? But the 5% that actually do play...
I just want to pause this right now. Just give me 1 second, guys. Somebody reminded me of something that was extremely important that I don't know what I was thinking. I don't know what I was doing, but I'm a big fucking idiot. I am not farming these mounts while I'm AFK on my alt characters. I'm such a piece of shit. And so please, if you have the Arachnid Harvester or the Rust Feather up on your realm, please invite Thug Fresh on the realm Kel'Thuzad so I can get these items as well, okay? I need to be AFK farming these. You even killed them on your man. Not today, but I know that this guy's already there, so I'm going to go on him first.
They will spend a lot.
Yes.
Just know where you stand on this. Hot state. There's an excellent book about behavioral psychology called Thinking Fast and Slow. This is the fast thinking. I'm telling you that the fast thinking mode is what you want. The slow thinking is your analytical brain.
This is how I made the good sale. I made a really, really good buy for the rooster mount. After he explains it, I'll tell you guys what I did.
12 times 47. I'm sure all of you can answer that, but you have to start your actual thinking brain to do that. Now, if I say, complete the sentence, bread and... everyone thought butter. So
I
that's
thought
the
wine.
fast thinking. Our brain works in these 2 modes, and starting the analytical part of your brain is too much to ask for a spend. How it applies to games is make stuff immediately useful, immediate gratification. If you have a level-based game and you sell some boosters up front, for instance, a coin doubler or some other stuff that will help you, people will have to analyze and think it through. These things are good for me. These will help me progress before they do it.
Yeah.
And they won't do that. If, on the other hand, you do like, for instance, in this temple run, once your game is over, save me, I have a few seconds to spend hard currency and I get to continue. Or similar in Candy Crush Saga, at the very moment that I've lost, I can see I just played a bit more, I can pass it. Make it immediately useful. Loss aversion.
What I did, this is a very, very good way of buying things and also selling things, is immediacy. Use immediacy as a selling point. The person that I was buying the rooster from originally had it up for 7.5 million gold. He asked me for more than what I had wanted to buy it for, and so I told him that I didn't want to pay that, but if he'd give me the price that I wanted, I would buy it right then and there. Creating that immediacy and that sense of urgency is probably one of the best ways that you can add value to a purchase without actually adding value to a purchase. And I used to do this all the time. It is, and also it's a very good way to manipulate people who are not very good at having delayed gratification. A limited time offer. Let me think, like other different things that, let's see. Like tell people that, like, maybe for example that, you know, you have this thing, and maybe if you don't buy it right now, it's going to be gone. Or, you know, I've got the money right now, but tomorrow I've got to pay my rent, or, you know, I've got a bill coming due tomorrow, so by that time I won't have the money. So you better go big, and at the end you'll save bigger. Okay, limited edition. Yeah, exploit the proletariat swine. Exactly, yeah. So there's plenty of different ways to do this, okay, guys, just so you understand. Tell people to trade it for thousands of years. Oh yeah, no, this guy isn't saying anything that's new. He's just using a different avenue to say it.
This is, people are much more attached to the stuff they have than an equal amount of things that they can gain. Which means that if I give you an offer, I'll flip a coin. If it's tails, I'll take 100 euros from you. If it's heads, I'll give you 120 euros. Who would take the bet? No one. No. We need more gain to offset the loss is felt more strongly.
Yeah,
we need like 200 against 100 loss, 200
right.
gain against 100 loss, then we'll take the deal. In games, you can apply this by giving people stuff that feels is in their pocket, and then threaten to take it away unless they pay up. This is, lots of level-based games do this. There are collectibles in things like Puzzle and Dragons. You collect along the way. If you didn't finish the level, they'll take it from you. Now, pay to continue a bit. Offers and scarcity plays into the loss aversion. If there are rare cards up here, and you see the goblin going with his clocks, tick-tock, I'll take it away from you, I'll take it away from you. They are scarce, they go away. This is a brilliant way to get more.
That's right.
People
it sure
to
is.
spend more. Subscription, does anyone recognize the guy? He's the builder from Clash of Clans. The point of this is the builder has a very specific way of working. If you spend your hard currency on this guy, you will only get the benefit from him if you then keep coming back to the game very often. So it drives both retention and monetization.
It creates a sense of investment.
Stuff that makes people come back to your game a lot in order to get the value out of that.
Yep.
The IKEA effect. This
Twitch
is
Prime
to say,
too.
Stuff that we put work into, we value more highly. You know, IKEA really sells you cardboard stuff. It's shit, but you value it
pretty much.
still somehow slightly higher because you actually built it yourselves. The model over here is from a psychology book called Hooked, How to Build Hooking Products. This is how we build habits. There's a trigger to remind us to do something, then we go do an action, we get the variable reward, just like the gachas, we get the lottery ticket, and then to really hook it down, we need to ask people to do something for us, do a little bit of work, because then they become emotionally attached to that.
Yep.
And then we set up the next trigger, either internal or external. External trigger means really a notification in our case. Internal that people have in their minds that, you know, I started building that tower or I planted.
That's why you have to do like a little bullshit quest or something like that at the beginning of things in order to get you invested in the system, right? That's basically the idea of it.
Pumpkins, that means I need to come back in 8 hours.
Yeah.
So that's the trigger, and then we go round and round, and we have the habit. Anchoring is fun. Anchoring means that when we don't know the price of stuff, the first price we hear suggested for it becomes our anchor, and then we compare everything to that.
Yep.
For instance, an iconic example.
This is what people do with WoW tokens.
Black pearls, when they first came on the market, no one wanted them because they're dull and black and don't look very nice. The guy who had them told his summer trainee or whatnot to just dump the price of them and get rid of them. The summer trainee understood it wrong and actually hiked the price by 50% or 100%. And then suddenly they became these objects of desire. Even more special, I think, is this. If I ask all of you to write down the last 2 digits of your social security number, and then I have an auction, like imagine this is a fancy bottle of wine, and you get to bid on auction here. Okay. The people like me, my last 2 digits in my social security number are 99. I'd bid a higher price on this than the guys who have like 10 or 05. Just because I wrote down a high number on a paper will anchor my thinking on what goes next. So how to use this in a game?
You start with a high offer, right? So what he's saying, you guys are putting question marks in chat. What he's saying is that you start with a high offer and you say this is worth $50, and you get that number $50 in people's heads, and let's say it's only worth $5. But if you say $50, now the conversation is around $50. And so that's why a lot of people start off high and then you basically negotiate down. That's the way that it goes. And so yeah, you basically, priming, anchoring, whatever you want to call it. So you started at $50, then you start having a conversation about $35. But if you started at $35, that means you're going to start having a conversation about $20. And you don't want to talk about $20, you want to talk about $35. And that's why you start high prices. That's basically the whole thing. And that's why, obviously, the Blizzard mounts, do you really think that it costs them $25 to sell you a mount? Fuck no, it doesn't. That's why they can go on sale all the time for these massive price reductions, is because it's worth nothing to them to do. But they can do that, and as soon as it goes on sale for that massive price reduction, everybody thinks, oh my God, I'm saving so much money by buying this thing that I don't actually own for only $8. That's how it works. It's worth what people are willing to pay? Well, yeah, but how do you change how much they're willing to pay? That's the conversation. It's not about, of course, it's obviously worth about how much people are willing to pay, but how do you make them willing to pay more money?
Some games, immediately when you're in the tutorial, they suggest to you, you should buy this good IAP for 50 euros or something like that. I go like, oh, that's expensive, I'll never do that. Of course, no. And I expect them to say no. Then again, I come back like a few sessions later and suggest they buy it for 15. And I'll say, that's a good value, because my anchor was at 50. Social proof. So this is, we are herd animals, we tend to do what all of the others do. You all sit quiet listening to me, because that's what all of the other guys do here. So, especially when people are similar to us.
This is good.
This means that
this is good.
You should have the socially accepted way of behaving in your game should be paying. You want to tell people...
Subscriber only chat.
For instance, when a clan member of theirs spend IAP money, you want the whole clan to know, because then that becomes the socially acceptable way of behaving. You absolutely do not want to tell them that the majority of people in your game never spend money. That's right. Poison. Never tell them that.
Absolutely.
Availability means that the stuff we hear a lot about is the stuff we judge as likely to happen. This, for instance, can tie into gachas. If there are rare gachas, not every player will see them every session.
Look at that.
That's like the definition of rare.
Yeah.
Which means that they will think that it's not likely to happen that they get one of those, which means that you should tell them about it, which means every time a clan member gets one of the rare things, you should broadcast it to all of the others.
Lay it off. Thank you very much to the Twitch Prime. Really appreciate that. D-Stag, thank you very much to the Twitch Prime as well. Son of Sevenless, thank you guys very much. Themselves, Dog on My Leg, ASAP Queef, Have a Pringle, thank you guys very much all for the subs. He legged himself, thank you very much for the sub as well. Thank you guys. It really, really means a lot. Thank you guys so much.
Like your friend got this rare or legendary thing, then they will judge it more likely. The right amount of choice. This is a famous jam experiment. They put up a stall in a supermarket with 20 different jams. You know, have a taste here, then you have a discount, go buy some. And then they had a control group who had only 5 jams to taste. Okay. Now, for the one with 20, a lot of people stopped by and tasted the jams, but for the one with 6, a lot more people bought, because they know that that's the best one. That's the one I want. If there are 20, there's too much choice. We just get anxious. We choose nothing. There's a bunch of data on this.
Path of Exile kind of has this problem because they have so many microtransaction items that the player becomes overwhelmed. And also, let's go ahead and go back to the See You Later bundle. Because there are so many mounts that are in the store, players then have their decision-making process dispersed over so many different items, it becomes overwhelming to them. So Blizzard counters that by removing some of those items from the store, so then players can focus their decision-making process on fewer amounts of goods. So this is, yeah, I mean, there it is, only 6 items at a shop at a time. Not 6. PoE also put in loot crates. PoE is also free. Okay? Like, keep that in mind. PoE is free.
That whales take longer time to convert. This is just another reminder for you to have content for a bloody long time. The core loop goes through the store. Have an example, hill climb racing, because it's so fantastically minimal and nice. You do your action, your in-game, your core game there, and you go straight into the meta game where you do the upgrades, and then back there. So the loop always goes through the meta stage where your store, where you're spending money. Labeling.
Like, for example, like, let's say maybe you have like a menu that you have to always go to, and shop is right below help. It's right there on the main menu. Just for example. I mean, I don't know like about that, but just like for example.
Them on being nice, good citizens, they are more likely to behave as nice, good citizens. So you should actually tell your players that they are generous individuals who have a taste for good art and want to support their game developers by paying you and buying IAPs. Related to that, also to telling people the reason to do something makes them much more likely to actually follow through and do that. Spend because.
So, for example here, Blizzard used this methodology on the sale of the Hogris mount, right? Is it like you're basically saying that, you know, you're buying the Hogris mount for good fortune? Well, look at even the name of the Hogris mount. Isn't Hogris the mount of good fortune? Think about that. It's the same fucking thing. It's a little bit different. It's a little bit more abstract, but it's the same general thing. Pretty sure you can't press escape to the shop, unlike many other in-game menus. I don't know about that.
Reasons. The reasons don't even have to be that good in order for this to work. And last, here are remember, there are 4 ways of progressing in games in general. You can have a skill-based game, you can have a luck-based game, you can have a game where you just progress by grinding, or you can pay to progress. Make sure that your games aren't too skill-based. I made that mistake myself. A too skill-based game, you don't get people to pay you, because there's no reason to.
Nope.
So make sure grinding and paying are legitimate versions of progressing in the game.
Like buying store mounts? Like buying store pets?
Thank you, that's it. A few questions.
Any questions at all? No? Okay, well, thank you very much.
Thanks. I'll give one more in case you didn't have questions. Reciprocity is a very, very strong mechanic. If I give something to you, if you give something to me, I feel obliged to give something to you. To trigger that, however, we need 3 different criteria. The gift needs to be unexpected, personal, and significant. It can't feel like something
Gifted subs.
I gave to everyone, which makes this a real challenge to do as part of the game. But I think you can incentivize your players to trigger reciprocity between each other. But that's a challenge for you guys. Thank you.
Grassmaster, thanks for the 5 subs, man. Appreciate that. Thank you, thank you, thank you.